from the Energy Committee in Parliament. Some 23 minutes after 80 on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. I'll get into the detail of the conversation following the nationwide demonstration by the NDC to force the Electoral Commission, as it were, to cause a forensic audit to be done on the 2024 voter register. Dr. Ebenezer Amanolati is a political scientist with the University of Education, Winneba. He joins us on the phone line. Doc, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning to you and to your listeners.
Great. Doc, first, what did you make of the NDC hosting their demonstration in 16 regions across the country to send a single message to the Electoral Commission?
Thanks so much. Well, what I make of it is that the NDC is living up to the billing as the largest opposition party in Ghana. That is also telling the people of Ghana first that it has the capacity to organize itself after 8 years in opposition. Into the Electoral Commission, I think it is sending a signal that the pressure that it is putting on the Commission is indeed gathering momentum. So for some opening statement, that is what I would say, that yes, they are sending signals to the EC, the government and the people of Ghana, that their demands, they are really pushing hard to get through with their demands on what they think of the register.
The Electoral Commission has responded to the NDC saying that, well, they will look at the petition that they sent to them, but also to let them know that their doors are open and that the voter registration preparation process is in the early stages. We're just 80 days away from the election. Do you side with the Electoral Commission that we're still in the early days of building a credible register?
Well, early days, I wouldn't agree with the EC that we are in the early days, because you know that elections is in December. We are in the middle of September. So actively we have like 2 months and some 2.5 months or so to elections. So it is not, we can't say that we are in the early days. I think that it is getting too late for some of these issues to be addressed. Around this time, I don't think that we should be, the national conversation should be around how credible the voters register is. I think this time the party should have been out there campaigning and convincing the people of Ghana. So early yet, I don't agree with the EC. I think it is getting a bit late, and I think that is why. Then that is where the NDC is finding it prudent to appeal to its supporters and to the people of Ghana to demonstrate, to exercise their constitutional rights in telling the EC that things ought to be done in a more transparent and fair manner. So I don't think it is in the early days yet. I don't agree with the EC. 2.5 months or so, I think it is getting a bit late. And I think in order not to put any undue pressure on the EC itself, I think the earlier they engage the parties through IPAC or through any means that they think prudent, the better, so that these issues will not come up going to elections. This elections promises to be a crucial one in our history. So I don't think it's early days yet. I think it might be getting late if the EC waits longer.
The Electoral Commission insists that their doors are open. In fact, that's the closing line of the press release that they put out yesterday. Ahead of that, the man who signed that same press release, Mr. Samuel Tete, Deputy Director, Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations, says that, look, hitting the streets will bring tension. Should the NDC go back to the table, or should they keep agitating the way and manner in which they're doing?
I think for the love of this country that the NDC wants to govern, the NDC should rather embrace any move by the EC to get them back to the negotiation table to Georgia. It is important. Now they have made a statement, a bold statement they have made. We have seen they will be able to amass numbers. The EC is calling on you to come so that the issues that you think you have our doors are open. You can come to us, we'll address them. And steps will be taken to get those issues addressed. I think it is only fair to the people of Ghana, not just to the EC, to the people of Ghana, for the NDC to now enter that open door and have things done, whatever they think is the issue. I believe that with the competence of the EC over the years, the experience that the EC had gathered since 1992, 93 to date, it has a lot of experience in order to be able to resolve some of these issues. And that is what every democracy would want, where doors are all open, institutions are open for contributions from the public and from stakeholders. I think it is important. We will prefer, the people of Ghana will prefer that the NDC goes to the EC for frank discussions on these things and issues that they find disturbing. They can raise those issues, and if responses or answers are preferred that they don't agree, they can then talk. Even at IPAC, I believe that these things could be done, where it will not just be the NDC and the EC, but all interested parties plus the EC. They will meet, have discussions so that they will agree. Once the parties agree, it reduces a lot of the tension that goes with our elections. So I think that, yes, the NDC should take opportunity to go to the EC and that they should have a meeting. And if the NDC is not even going to the EC, I believe that the EC through IPAC could invite the NDC so that they talk about these issues, so the tensions that have started building up will come down.
The NDC insists that they have made clear their intentions, they have raised their questions. In fact, the first time they raised their questions, the Electoral Commission shut it down and said that the register, as it were then, before the exhibition, is credible. So that's a hard stance taken by the Electoral Commission. Now they seem to have taken another stance. But what would the EC lose if they conduct the forensic audit that the NDC is asking for?
I don't think that the EC will lose anything if there is a forensic audit of the voters register. I don't think this is too much to ask if any political party or any section of the Ghanaian population, the voting population, asks for a look at the register. I think all that we want to do is that we want a voters register that we cannot trust. So the EC wouldn't lose anything if this audit could be done as soon as possible to allay all fears of every voting person in Ghana, so that the political parties who are one of the major stakeholders in the electoral process would also be satisfied with it. I don't think that we should be toying and we should be playing politics with this particular issue, because if elections to be credible, one of the ingredients is a credible voter register. And I think that the EC should really look at its stance. And I am not saying this so that the EC will be kowtowing to every demand of every political party. When it gets to that level, then the EC might even lose track of its own line of thought. I think, but I think that where tensions are being created for the sake of the peace of Mother Ghana, I think the EC should soften its stance a bit, so that through some means they can get all stakeholders involved. If even in auditing, all stakeholders should get involved in the auditing. I don't want it to be bilateral, where it is the EC and the NDC all the time. No, all political parties, all interested parties should get involved, so that it becomes we have a multiple approach to this thing to get it resolved once for all, so that we will be happy with the register. The EC would also be happy with the register it is presenting. Then we can have elections devoid of the name calling and the tagging, and those things, they bring a lot of tension into our politics. And I think we have matured enough to be able to overcome this. I think the EC should meet the NDC and the other parties so that these issues could be resolved. It wouldn't be too much to ask of the EC for a forensic audit of the register.
Free, fair, credible, and transparent elections. That's what we're all looking for. The man who once upon a time at the Electoral Commission was a director of Electoral Services is now a deputy commissioner in charge of operations. In addressing the NDC's concerns earlier in a press conference, he mentioned that he was surprised that the NDC is interested in the register now because the 2016 register had plans and trees and animals representing human beings, yet the NDC kept quiet about it. What do you make of this statement from the then Director of Electoral Services and now Deputy Director of Operations, the Deputy Commissioner in charge of Operations, who is asking the NDC to come back to the table?
Well, for me, I think some of these statements from state functionaries are unnecessary. If in 2016 we had a voter register that was not credible, yet we used it to run our elections, what prevented us, and in fact today, what prevents us from improving? Every society seeks to build upon and to correct its mistake as it grows and as it matures. And I believe that if there were errors, when you read the history, elections in 1992, we were using opaque ballot boxes. The EC itself, when you read materials produced, you notice that there have been steady improvements in the activities of the EC and our electoral politics. We have seen progress, tremendous progress. So this is not a time for us to be referring people to the past and what happened. What happened had not been good, and we all complained about it. Now we have an opportunity to make it better, so that tomorrow, when we are reading our history, we will understand that yes, in the 2024 elections, this happened, and we had the best or the most credible voter register ever. That would be something good. So I don't think it is necessary to make reference to 2016 when things happened that were not the best. It is important we build on as an institution, as the EC. It should build on to improve. And that is what we are seeking. We seek to improve the system so that I want a situation where in some few years' time, when we are going to elections, it will not be a matter of churches praying for peace. Because I find it a bit disturbing that we always pray for peace when it is in our hands to make sure that things work well. So it is that statement unnecessary, and I think that the EC should be seen as that institution that is helping us to get to that level where nobody will have any cause to complain about voter register, where nobody will have any cause to complain about deliberately disenfranchising a cross-section of the voting population, where we will all be happy with the results at the end of the day. That is what we seek to do. So I think that the EC, should not be making these statements. Those statements should be for party politics, for the politicians to be doing the name callings, but not the EC. The EC should be an independent referee in the process, and I think they have been that so far, and I expect that they will continue doing that. So this statement, I don't think it was necessary at all.
Doc, to add to that, the Electoral Commission that you have always known since 1992, at least for the conversation that we are having now and for the benefit of the Fourth Republican dispensation, has not had party people, known party people, who have been in the media space articulating the views of one political party or the other as members of the Electoral Commission. Now you have members, known TESCON, patrons, as members of the Electoral Commission. And that enough raises questions to be compounded by this register issues. What should the EC do at this time?
Well, this is some of these issues. You know that we have people who are interested in party politics. They've been interested right from their youthful days, and I don't think that it is wrong for someone who is a party person, like someone to become interested in party politics and get involved. But what I think is very important is that when someone takes up a portfolio that is of a national nature, that person is supposed to shed off every bit of political party influence that person has. And once we are able to do that, then we win the confidence of the people of Ghana first. We win the confidence of the institutions or the stakeholders we are working with. And in this case, directly you mentioned the EC, it will be important that if the EC presents itself as, yes, this was the case, I was a patron, but I have been given a position that demands that I become neutral. So I am ceding my membership of the party. These are the things that we expect. We know that they vote. chairpersons of the EC, they are persons who should vote. They have the right to vote.
Right.
We know that judges who sit on cases involving political parties,
right,
they have the right to vote. But it is expected that they will take that national coat, they will put that national coat on once they occupy some offices.
Right.
And that is what I think should be the case. For political parties, you and I, we know that political parties will want to take advantage of everything that they can lay their hands on to discredit the other party or to discredit institutions in order for them to gain some upper hand in elections. We know that. But I think that we should trust that the system, the EC itself, it is a system. It is an institution. It's not just about one person, even though that person could be a leader who has big influence. But I think that we should trust that the commissioners and the commission will deliver on its mandate as expected by law. If it doesn't happen that way, then we can take that officer on. So I think that, yes, it has happened in the Fourth Republic. This is the first time we are seeing openly that someone like that has been appointed. But I think that we need to also trust that that person, having been offered a national appointment, will behave as such for the good of the people of Ghana and for our state.
Just to place on record that Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan never voted as an electoral commissioner. But then moving on, the tools that the Electoral Commission would need to administer this election for it to be free, fair, credible, and transparent are the BVD machines. Again, the NDC raised alarms about some missing BVD machines and some laptops. The Electoral Commission shut them down and said, that is not correct. Subsequently, the Electoral Commission came to say, it is true, we have lost these machines. We have reported to the police. We are investigating. As we speak, we have not found the machines, and we are going into the elections. Another cause for worry and concern?
Well, I listened to the EC when they were explaining the dynamics of the use of the verification machines. And the explanations offered that if even someone has diabolical tendencies and that person is intending to use it during the elections, it is not going to work because they will have to log in using their codes. So when it gets to that, I'm not an IT person, I'm a political science person. But when it gets to that, I want to trust that it will not be useful in the hands of criminals. That you need to be logged into the EC system before it can function. If that is the case, then I think that we should be rest assured that if even in an unlikely situation where some persons who have interest in our elections have stolen the machines, it shouldn't be useful. But I think that there is one
this is coming on the back of the fact that in 2016, the Electoral Commission publicly announced that its website had been hacked. Its own system had been hacked. The Electoral Commission made that aware. We were all made aware in 2016. So there's cause for worry if the machines are missing. First of all, the Electoral Commission says no machines are missing. Subsequently, when proof was given, they said, okay, yes, machines are missing. We have told the police, but they have not found the machines. And I'm going into an election where the machines will be used against an Electoral Commission that has once had the system hacked. I would be worried. Wouldn't you be worried?
In fact, where I am really worried is the situation where the EC is not coming clean with the people of Ghana on some of these things, as in informing us until the NDC did its own background checks and if for want of a better word, investigated and noted that some of the machines are missing. Even the EC initially did not want to come up with that information until the NDC press. This is where I am worried. The machine getting missing. I believe that the EC it is one of the most important institutions in this country, and the state will have to use every resource at its disposal to secure its website. I believe the state Ghana, we have the capacity to do this. So that I am not too worried about securing our website. It could be done. It could be done with the best of systems. We have the capacity to ensure that the EC's website is secure. Then we have the capacity. My worry is when the EC is not forthcoming with information, it's not being as transparent in these matters as they ought to be. Always when I talk, my issue is with the trust that we have reposed in the EC and the fact that any mistake could erode the trust we have in the EC. And once that trust is eroded, then we should know that we are descending into situations that will not be palatable. So I think my source of worry is that the EC did not come clean from the beginning. Later, they came clean and informed the people of Ghana that, yes, as the NDC has said, we have lost some machines. When we needed constant updates, those updates are not forthcoming. They haven't reported that they have found it. So we assume that they haven't found the machines yet. In that case, political parties who are always, I talk about the fact that there should be talks, constant deliberations with the stakeholders, especially the political parties, so that they will know at the levels at which things are to bring down the tensions. That is my issue, and that is where I fault the EC. That the EC in that case they don't do well by concealing some information from the people of Ghana and especially from the political parties. Now, what we should trust, trying to bring down tensions, is that the state Ghana, we have the capacity to secure the website such that none of these things can happen. But I also would want to consider what Dr. Ferijan said some time ago, that elections are won at the polling stations. That the NDC, if there are issues that the NDC is not satisfied with, especially with the coalition, they should get up-to-date infrastructure, IT infrastructure for themselves to monitor every result from every polling station so that no vote will be lost. In that case, it should tally with what the other political parties will do. And at the end of the day, when the EC brings result that is totally different from what all other parties are saying, then the people of Ghana will be the best judges in this case. And that is what I expect the NDC to do. It is important to raise the red flag, but it is also paramount that the NDC also put together a solid IT team, a solid IT infrastructure in order for their coalition to be up to scratch right from every polling station. That is very important for the NDC.
Doc, now there's no register as we speak because questions have been raised about the existing register, which was exhibited, which you and I went to check our name and found our names in there. Now, the Electoral Commission has received nominations from presidential aspirants or hopefuls and parliamentary hopefuls. They would have to get people to endorse these forms. What if the new register comes and those names that had endorsed the people had been seen not to be eligible or had been taken out, and based on that the Electoral Commission disqualifies a candidate A or B, which has happened before? Wouldn't that be recipe for chaos?
Yes, the situation that you are raising, yes, for chaos, I wouldn't want to go that tangent, but I think that it will bring some issues. But in these matters, I expect the EC. Well, the case that we don't have a register now, I think we have a register. We are only asking questions of the credibility of the register.
Doc, sorry, but we don't have a register, because if we have a register and we're asking questions and people's names have been moved beyond their, without their approval, people can't find themselves. Former Director of Electoral Services says there had been trees and plants and animals representing people in the past. Then we don't have a register, honestly.
We need, let us look at it as a half full glass and not as a half empty. We have something to work with, and we are trying to build a resilient democracy for ourselves. So I think that, yes, there could be issues. And I believe that every election year, we've had some few issues with the register. That does not, I am a political scientist, and I know it is not right to disenfranchise even one person. It is not right. But in cases where we have some of these things happening, we ask ourselves that, are they enough to discredit the entire process? Even though it will be an infraction, but it will not be enough to discredit the entire electoral process. So, yes, we have the NDC has raised issues. The people of Ghana are also raising issues because some could not find their names where they are supposed to vote. Some will have to be redirected and all. Yes, so people are getting agitated about these things. it doesn't mean that we don't have a register. We have a register, but we have issues. So in that case, that is where the NDC, I love the fact that the NDC has raised the red flag. The NDC has rallied supporters to demonstrate to tell the EC, we want you to do the right thing for us, the people that you serve. And this is what I applauded earlier. I applauded the NDC for this, in making sure that, yes, the right things are done. So we expect that things will work well for us, for ourselves. And I think that the EC will have to double its work in order to get all parties involved, to get us a register that will satisfy us going to the elections. So I think we should be making a lot of progress at this time. Now, awareness has been raised nationally, and I think, I dare say, globally, with what happened with the demonstration. Now, the pressure is on the EC to rally all its resources in order to get this thing resolved. And I think that we should trust that the EC will come up with something good for the people of Ghana and for the parties and for our elections.
What timelines should the Electoral Commission be looking at?
Well, for me, I think that some 6 weeks to elections, everything should be clear. The register should be up to scratch. We should be ready by 6 weeks to elections. We should be ready. When we delay, it puts a lot of pressure and tension. It brings a lot of tension in Ghana. And when it comes to that level where a month to time, 2 weeks to time, people are still asking questions, there is a lot of tension in the media space. All discussions will be hovering around tension, issues that can bring tension. When people begin talking about tension, it is not good for the health of the country. So I believe that some 6 weeks to time, everything should be set such that we will say that should the referee blow the whistle for the start of the match, we are ready to start. And that is what I think the EC should be working towards.
Doc, I thank you very much indeed for your time. Dr. Ebenezer Amanolati is a senior lecturer, political science department, University of Education, Winneba. Thank you for spending your morning with us.
You're welcome and good morning.
Thank you. It's some 10 minutes to the top of the hour 9. Let me take you back to 8 years ago, where David Asante, who's a convener for Let My Vote Count Alliance, had something to say about the Electoral Commission. Listen.
The Electoral Commission wanted the country to believe that it fought Abu Ramadan and Evans Nimakon for 2 whole years in court, Supreme Court, to protect the